Okay, my loves. I know there are a lot of you that are out there that are really wondering, how do I even set boundaries anymore? Maybe you didn't grow up with great boundaries. Maybe boundaries weren't really modeled well for you, or maybe you were told that you cannot have boundaries. Maybe you're tired of being gaslighted in your relationships, and you're tired of feeling crazy all the time and guilty for trying to make a difference in your life. If this is you, then I want you to come schedule a call with me. Let's chat about the Unashamed Image Program. The Unashamed Image Program is geared towards you specifically. I am going to be helping you in our next upcoming session of the Unashamed Image. I am personally going to train you how to not feel crazy when someone is gaslighting you, how to be able to stand your ground, to keep your boundaries intact, and to also see through the bull crap. I am also going to be teaching you how to set really confident boundaries that you can really rely on. And I'm going to help you communicate them in a way that really makes sense. Basically, I'm going to help you live a life free of shame and on your terms. If you are ready and you are done feeling all the shame and guilt for trying to set boundaries, if you are not willing to live another moment the way you are right now and in somebody else's shadow, then this is the time to schedule that call with me. It's completely free, no pressure, just love, just support. Go to www.erinandersonthetraumacoach.com. Scroll down the page to where it says, Let's Chat About Working Together. Click on that button and it'll take you to my booking page. If you're ready to live the unashamed life, schedule that call. Let's get you in the Unashamed Image Program, my loves. From my heart to your heart. Bye. Hey everyone! It's Erin Anderson with the Erin Anderson Betrayal Trauma Coaching. I am super excited that you have tuned in today. Let's get talking about how to heal from betrayal trauma. Welcome to the other side of the struggle. This is a podcast where we talk about trauma, how to heal it, and then how to take it and use it to unlock your mission and your potential, and to use it to live your very best dream life. When you're dealing with betrayal trauma, it can be hard to know how to heal it, how to stop the pain, and to know what your next steps are to take in your own life. And these are the questions that we try to answer here. Trauma has the ability to rob us of our joy and identity, which is why it's so miserable to experience. But with the right tools and with the right mindset, we can totally reclaim that joy and even use this trauma to strengthen ourselves so that way trauma does not knock us off of our joy again. Living your dream life should be a non-negotiable, but trauma tends to try to negotiate that with you. And even though trauma is not something that we will completely ever be free of in our life, the pain is negotiable. This is why I created Erin Anderson Betrayal Trauma Coaching and this podcast, is because I want my listeners, I want my clients to live, truly live free from the prison that trauma can put you in. I want you to live on the other side of the struggle. Hey, my loves. Welcome back to another episode of The Other Side of the Struggle. So today, we're going to chat about another major thing that I hear a lot of, that I come across about. And this is a question that I probably hear more than any other question. And that is, how do I trust again? Right? Now, obviously, I've recorded a couple of podcasts about this very same thing, but it always is a good idea to go back through and repeat some of these things before, okay? And let's be honest, like, one of the reasons why we're sitting here saying, like, how do I trust again, is we do understand that trust is necessary for having a healthy and fulfilling relationship with our partner. Like, that's obvious, right? But what I hear from a lot of my clients when they first start coming to me is that they are somehow 100% responsible for the broken trust in their marriage and their relationships. Their husbands are often guilt tripping them. Like, why don't you trust me? I told you I wasn't into that anymore, right? Or, I've been so good for a week. Like, why can't I just have your trust back? And they think that even though they have done things to hurt the marriage or hurt their wives, or to make it so their wives do not trust them anymore, that they should just immediately trust them, brush, like it's water under the bridge. We should just all forgive and forget and trust again. And that's not the way trust works at all. And anybody that is literally trying to guilt trip you into trusting them and trying to make you feel bad because you just don't trust them is not somebody that is trustworthy. They're not actually doing the work to get in and earn your trust back. So let's talk about how we know when it's time to give our trust back. And in the end, let's talk a little bit about what we can say that is really going to be helpful and very, very secure for us to communicate that, no, I'm not in that place yet. And it's okay. Okay? So number one, how do we know when to give our trust? Okay? Well, first, it's going to depend upon the actions of the other person. Okay? Now, you're not coming to me because you're the narcissist. If you're the narcissist, everything I have said in this podcast offends you. That's the honest to gosh truth. When I talk about forgiveness, when I talk about trust, when I talk about these things, a true narcissist will actually be really, really triggered by the things I say. So if you're not triggered and you're here looking for truth, that's a good sign. Okay? However, if you play this episode for somebody you don't trust, yeah, they might get a little triggered by some of the things I say. Because a narcissist is not interested in ever hearing about what they can work on. All they want to do is point out what everybody else around them needs to work on and what everybody else is doing wrong, so that way they never really have to acknowledge within themselves why they're feeling so broken, so triggered. The idea of that is terrifying to them, because if they admit to themselves that they have work to do on themselves, then maybe they'll also have to admit that they're a terrible human. Okay? And that's not the case. It's just we tend to do not smart things when we're running from our emotions, when we're not actually acknowledging them. We tend to do not smart things like blaming other people or making somebody else are trying to make somebody else feel bad, or pushing their emotions aside, or trying to guilt trip them for having an emotional reaction just because we did something wrong, right? That's what a narcissist does. You're coming to this podcast, if you're learning things, you're not the narcissist. I can tell you that, okay? So how do we know when to give our trust? Well, number one, they're going to really hear you. They're going to recognize and say things like, I know I hurt you. I know what I did was not okay. I can see now that that was really inappropriate. I am so sorry. Please forgive me. And they're going to check in with you. How are you feeling? When I did XYZ, how did that make you feel? And they're really going to try to see things from your perspective. Somebody that is trustworthy is going to get in and do the work that they need to do on themselves. Because, number one, they care about you, but also because they care about who they are. Because they care about them. They want these results for them. Someone who is trustworthy is ambitious. They're going to get in and do the hard work and the hard thing, and they're not going to stop trying until they get the results they want. And they're going to be open to feedback. They're not going to take offense to the feedback. They're not going to try to guilt trip you into giving them trust. They are going to understand completely why you feel the way you do, and they're going to do what it takes to repair the damage they have done. That is someone who is trustworthy. That is someone who really, really cares that they have your trust. That is someone who is going to try to build back your trust because what you experience matters to them. And you matter to them. You know, I had a fantastic client that actually did this really, really well. I worked with her and her husband for about 3 months, and you know, it really did matter to him how she was feeling and how his actions came across to her. And so he did the work. He was checking in with her and saying, hey, I know that what I did was not okay. Can you tell me what you experienced? And I'm just going to listen. And after she was done talking to him about what she experienced, he gave her a big hug, thanked her for being so open and honest with him, and he got to work. So how do you feel about boundaries? It's a legitimate question. A lot of people come to me really struggling with this concept. They often feel guilty for setting boundaries, or they're not sure about even what a boundary is. You know, they've heard the term, set the boundary, things like that, but that's really confusing for them because it's not something that's well taught in our society nowadays, right? They know that boundaries are really important to having healthy, constructive, supportive, and wonderful relationships, but why? And oftentimes they also know that they feel like their boundaries are being violated, but they can't quite pinpoint what the boundary is that's being violated. That's why I've created the Clarifying and Creating Your Boundaries free PDF. You can find out what your boundaries are, how to tune in to what the boundary needs to be, and how to effectively create and communicate your boundary so that way you stay in this place that respects you, respects the other person, but also gives you the confidence in your boundaries so that way you stop being gaslighted, disrespected, and unseen. Having your boundaries really clear gives you a voice, and also helps the other person stay in accountability with themselves. So that's not a role that you have to take on anymore. So if you are ready to really have clear boundaries, to really understand what your role is in the boundary, and to give yourself some safety and some protection against people that might try to gaslight you or are just being disrespectful, go grab my Creating and Clarifying Your Boundary PDF at erinandersonthetraumacoach.com. And while you're there, let's schedule a call with me. Come have a chat with me so that way I can really, really help you master this particular skill, creating boundaries, clarifying the boundary, communicating that boundary, and so that way I can also help you have relationships that show up to support you, cherish you, and love you. He started doing the important emotional work that he needed to do on himself so that way he wasn't so offended and scared of her emotions and the way that his actions made her feel. He is a perfect example of someone that can be trusted. To this day, he treats her like a queen. Even though he makes mistakes, he still is constantly trying to make life better for her. He's constantly saying things like, hey, I can see you've had a really hard day. Let me take care of the kids. You go take a nice long soak in the tub. Or if he's done something wrong, like if he's ever slipped up looking at pornography or something like that, he immediately goes to her with that. He doesn't try to hide it from her. He immediately goes to her and says, I am so sorry. I know that this is really, really hard for you. What can I do? Do you need space? I am happy to give you space. Do you need, like, I'm going to schedule immediately a call with my coach and I'm going to work with him on this. Like he gets on the ball. This is a guy that is trustworthy. And I got to tell you, like, all of this girl's friends just absolutely adore her husband because he treats her so well. Even though he has his own struggles, he still treats her like a queen. That is a person we can trust. Okay. Number 2, how do we know when we can't trust? Well, if somebody expects you to trust them after they have even once broken your trust, that is a really good indicator that they're not ready for your trust. It is not up to you to heal what is broken when they have been the one that broke it. It is not up to you to clean up their mess. And when they are expecting you to just trust them again and just to get over it, oh my gosh, it's been a week. Why can't you get over it? That is somebody that's dismissing your experience and breaking your trust in those very words. That is not a person that is ready to be trusted. They cannot expect you to clean up their mess when they've created the mess. That's not okay. You weren't the one that broke the trust. If they're the one that broke the trust, then they need to be the one to do the restitution. Another person you can't trust is a person that is not going to take any ownership for their lives. If they're consistently blaming you, faulting you, dismissing your emotions, poking you until you have an emotional reaction. That happens a lot, and it's a sick game. Okay? A really great video to watch if you're wondering is The Sickest Game to Play by Teal Swan. It's on YouTube. Okay? She talks about this very thing about a person who will push and push and push and push and push until that other person has a reaction finally to their emotions. And then they turn around and guilt them and shame them for having the emotional reaction that they have had, right? That's a very sick game to play. And that's, again, another person that cannot be trusted. Another person that you cannot trust is someone, again, like I said, who blames you for things that you are not responsible for. A person that is going to consistently misunderstand you when you've given them the opportunity many times. They just want to live in their own world and they just want to make you the bad guy. That is a person you cannot trust. And another person you can't trust is someone who just makes you feel icky. You might not necessarily know why, but your gut is just like, ooh, I don't like this situation. I don't like this guy. You need to trust that. You need to trust your own instincts. And if your instincts are saying back away, that is what you do. Back away. That doesn't mean you have to give somebody your trust. Women have been taught by society to be good little girls. And that means that we don't ever want to make somebody feel uncomfortable. We want to always make somebody feel good and happy and all these things. But that's a dangerous teaching, honestly. We need to stand up for ourselves. We need to be able to speak up and out and call somebody out when they're inappropriate. That's important. When somebody is not being appropriate, we need to say it. And it's important to not put somebody else's experience and emotions over our own. However, again, if we're in the wrong, then we get to own that. Because we're fantastic humans and we want to do right because we like who we are when we do right. It's not because somebody else's experience is more important than ours. No, it's actually that our experience is really important and we want to make sure that we have the best experience. Therefore, we're going to take ownership of the things that we do wrong. That's how we build self-trust, actually. And the third piece to this, so what do you say when someone is trying to guilt trip you? How do we respond when someone is sitting there saying, oh, you just need to trust me, right? It's your fault. I've done everything you've asked me to do, and you still don't trust me, right? And they're not actually putting in that work. Well, number one, we get to trust ourselves. That's really important, okay? People who don't trust themselves are easily gaslighted, okay? But people that do trust themselves and they trust their experiences, they trust their gut, they trust what is happening to them and what they think about that situation, those are people that are really hard to gaslight, okay? And they tend to say things like, I can see that my trust is important to you, or that you really want my trust. However, if you want my trust, these are the actions you need to take. Simple as that. You can also say, trying to guilt trip me for not trusting you is not making me trust you more. As a matter of fact, it's making me trust you less and telling me that I still cannot trust you. If earning my trust back is so important to you, you will not just expect me to give it, you'll actually get in and earn it. And we just hold the line. My loves, in order for you to trust someone again, you're going to have some really difficult conversations with people and not be deterred or distracted when they have an emotional reaction to what you say, when they shut down, when they dismiss, when they try to ridicule or they try to deflect, right? These are all things that are not trustworthy. And we don't have to sit there and keep pushing and pushing and pushing them, because now all of a sudden we get into the space of not being trustworthy. We just get to have a really fantastic boundary here that says something along the lines of, the way you're responding to this is not making me trust you more. If you would like my trust, then you'll do the work. If you want to know what the work is, you'll ask. And then we go about our business. I cannot iterate enough to you that it is not completely up to you to bring trust back to this relationship. And if you find yourself in a relationship with someone who is consistently breaking your trust and expecting you to do the work to repair it, you really need to consider if that relationship is worth saving. But if somebody is willing to get in and do the work, if they can really hear you, then that is a person that we can possibly give a few more chances to. All right, my loves, I hope this was helpful. Again, if you would like some personalized help, get in, make that call, schedule that call with me. You can message me on Facebook, Erin Anderson, Betrayal Trauma Coaching. And we can schedule a call from there. Or there's a link, a Calendly link. You can click that. That will also get you a call booked with me. Or go join my Facebook group, The Other Side of the Struggle. And you are more than welcome to reach out to me there, and we can book a call from that as well. All three ways. Lastly, if you are a coach that would love to become more trauma informed, so that way you can really help your clients move their traumas, get the results that they are wanting, be able to have fantastic experiences with you so they keep coming back, and so that way they refer all of their friends to you, set up another call with me. Let's get you on the next version of the Unashamed Life Coach School, where we'll teach you how to set up a business, an online business that is trauma informed, and help you start gaining clients yourself. All right, my loves. Mwah. Until next week, I'll see you on the other side. Bye, guys. Okay, so I've got a question for you. Have you joined my free Facebook group or Instagram page yet? If you haven't, go and do that. And this is the reason why. I always post my freebies, updated information, and all kinds of goodies for my community in that page. I'm also really active. I post videos. I answer questions. So if you guys really, really want to get in and interact with me, go like me on Facebook, go join my group, The Other Side of the Struggle, Healing from Betrayal Trauma. Come find me on Instagram, Erin Anderson, Betrayal Trauma Coach, and come follow me, because I always have something good there just for you, my audience, and I love connecting with you there. I also post anytime that I have groups going on. I talk sometimes about my programs. So if you guys are interested in working with me, or even just following me and getting as much free content as you possibly can, go hang out in my group. Go connect with the ladies that are there. Also come and join Immune and Unashamed for those married couples that are following me, because in that group, me and my business partner, Kaisen Kidd, are also talking and offering some great content. Hey guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today and listening in on this podcast.